Hello, everyone, and welcome to Episode 5 of the Nitro Racing League Network podcast. I'm your host, Matt Chaffe. Joined with me today is Bacon, Mahoo, and Puck as we talk about this past weekend's events in Nitro. As always, if you want to stay up to date with all the things happening in Nitro, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter for all the updates, as well as our website. You can visit that and check out the point standings and etc. from the race weekends. So, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 5. We've got France to talk about from F1, a little bit of some French beef, and then a interesting Martinsville race. It's kind of it was a odd race to put it best. I don't really know how else to describe that. All right, Puck, do we get it over with now? Or do we...
Okay, I'll just throw this out there, because, I think we can kind of put a fun spin on this. I don't know about you, Chaffe, but me personally, I have raced with you, wheel to wheel, by far more than anyone else this season.
Mm-hmm. That's fair, yeah.
And we've came together a couple times. I've also came together with Bacon a couple times, which I think sometimes I just hit Alpines. That's the way I see it.
Hold on.
You look at Bahrain, we went side by side through the entire S's, and you made that stick and work for a pass. And then at Singapore, I think I had one of the bravest dive bombs of my career and made that stick on you. We've done some great things, but
yeah,
Francis wasn't quite one of them.
No. No. And maybe if I remember to do it in this episode, I'll overlay your point of view and my point of view in the episode just so people know what we're talking about. No, and it's weird because both incidents from Abu Dhabi and France were kind of the same situation. You were on a better tire than me. You're in the DRS zone. And it was just I guess I either wasn't clear enough with my blocking moves, or I was just, well, at least for Abu Dhabi, I wasn't clear with my blocking moves or intentions on where you were going or predicting that. So,
it's interesting. With the Abu Dhabi one, I was actually in front on you. It's just you had to run back.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. I forgot
you doing the DRS on me because I had a bad run out of the corner.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I was just texting something. Yeah. But yeah, same thing too. It was just kind of maybe for Abu Dhabi, I should have gone to the right side of you to make the pass instead of left. There's obviously more track on that side, but yeah, the France situation, I'll go from my point of view, because in the end, your case technically wins because I got the 5-second penalty, whether or not that actually did anything or not, because I think I still got 9th place or whatever from the race. From my side, you're on softs, the rest of us are on hards because that's just the tires that we're on from the pit stops. By the way, and let's not, the wreck that happened too, you definitely deserve that 2nd place. You drove a phenomenal race. That should have been your podium. But yeah, when we're coming down the front straightaway, I know you're on softs, I know you have DRS, and part of me is thinking I should try to slow you down. We're coming up into the last 5 laps of the race. I should at least try to slow you down a little bit.
I think that is a good thought, because even if you keep me at bay for another half lap and I do get by, that just makes me reeling me back in easier for you, because that tire difference can possibly come back to you.
Yeah, it would have it would have made that leveling out of tire wear, a little bit easier for me, because had I just let you easily by, maybe I would have had DRS on the back straightaway and then maybe lost it because the softs weren't degrading quick enough. But
the way I projected, the tire wear situation being was, I think I would have just been about equal for the last 2 or 3 laps to the old hards. But you can run on old hards is obviously different than what I'm capable of. But that was kind of my idea of how things would have played out.
Yeah, which is fair enough. I think anyone in that situation would have thought that too, or use that to those tires. But yeah, the wreck itself was, in my mind, I mean, looking back from my point of view, it was kind of dumb. I should just stuck to the racing line, really. I should just stayed to the right side, let you have the inside. What I thought was happening was when I made that move to the left, I thought it, and it was a very slight move. Like, it was maybe not even like a feet or two to the left when I kind of made that turn. I thought you were already close enough where you were committing to the left side. So instead of going more left, I just decided to stop going left. And I guess looking back at it, I did go to the right a little bit more. And like I said, I think I just kind of naturally did that because I just assumed you would be on the left side of me. From the arrow, I could tell, or at least from your point of view, it looked like you were going to look left.
Yeah.
And then you at the very last second made the choice to go into the right side. And so, like, I guess in my point, I'm kind of at fault because I like I said, I wasn't clear with my blocking intentions. So, and then, yeah, obviously we come together there. I mean, it's tough because for me, if I'm in that position where someone's like, I know they're going to make the move to one direction, like let's say I was behind you and you went to go to the left, I probably would have committed to the left anyways, just because I'd like to just make my
left.
What's that?
Just like going even further to the left?
Further to the left, yeah. Even if it means I'm missing the apex to turn 1 at France. Like, for me, it's like I've always been like, if I'm going to make that move, I'm going to make that move and make it stick. I'm not going to like make a last second decision to the other side. So like, that's what I would have done had I been the car behind. But like I said, it's tough because it depends on what track it is, what corner you're going into. So yeah, it's tough. But like I said, I I even texted Karma after the F1 race or whatever. Or I told him in admin chat prior to NASCAR. I told him, I was like, I'm not even going to send in like a protest because I'm like, it's definitely mostly my fault there because I just didn't make my blocking intentions clear.
It's funny because next time I hop on F1, doesn't even matter what track, just going down a straightaway with DRS open, I want to see if I can like swerve left to right and back to the left. And if that sticks more often than not, like if I really did just make a mechanical error or if that's just not sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's tough, and it's tough too because you have fuel, to consider, tire wear to consider.
Other than that, I had a blast that race. The two Matts in here, along with two other Matts during the Mattcast episode 3, you guys had some pretty hearty laughs about my performance at Spain, and rightfully so. Man, was it dreadful, and I was just absolutely just depleted of confidence after that. But I put in some work for Portugal. Wasn't quite the result I wanted, but it showed promise. And France, I really could have had something there. So overall I still have a really healthy mindset, I think, going forward.
Yeah, and I think for sure you're after a performance like that, that's enough, even the back of my mind, where I'm like, okay, I got to be concerned about you now because now we know what you're capable of. And yeah, it happens that way. There's going to be some tracks where it works out, some tracks it doesn't. That's the beauty of F1.
In the point situation, I think I'm realistically in a spot where I don't expect anyone to catch me or me to catch anyone else. So I can just say to myself, okay, don't want to contribute to constructors, but we're literally exactly 50% of the way through the season. I just want to have the best second half I can have, and maybe even in my own mind run a little standings going from race 13 to race 24.
No, sure thing. Yeah, I mean, you guys Red Bull can still turn things around in the constructors, especially since you have Mahoo that's doing so good.
There's a three-headed monster, and like if I can start to rattle off, like even if it's on average like a P4, it'll start to add up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, I guess your highest finish this season has been 5th, is that right?
I did podium at Japan.
Let's see, Japan. Oh, you were the one that finished 3rd there. Okay, I see. I shouldn't look at constructors then that way.
It is worth noting that this would have been my first podium on pace, because the one in Japan and the one in Abu Dhabi last season prior, there were a couple front runners that got into accidents. Funny enough, you being one of them at Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm.
So that only makes me feel better about everything else.
Yeah.
For those who didn't know, technically Joseph did the same thing too, but actually no, I guess he started softs. I was the only person to opt for the hards to start the race.
That's true. Yeah.
There was chaos in front of me turn 1. I really backed off. 2 people were out of shape. I actually got 2 spots after turn 1. The overcast conditions were not feeling great on hard tires without much heat in them. Like, my race nearly ended, like, either lap 2 or 3. I got really bent out of shape coming out of turn 1. And Liberate had even said behind me, like, I can't believe he didn't crash that thing.
Yeah, they're hard to get up to temp. They've always been. Doesn't really matter where. Yeah, you starting on the sauce was a really good strat, though. Like, had we not reset. Actually, no. If we had reset, you probably would have been better off because everyone else was obviously on like worn mediums.
Yeah, and that was my argument. Was I think I would have been in this kind of the striking zone, like maybe a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
The additional wear. And I gotta say, it was nice having a lot of clean air once I get past a couple of the kind of the mid-pack runners.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really have many of our back marker drivers, but
no, unfortunately, the numbers have just been going down ever since the start of the season. I mean, we've been consistently 10 people showing up. That's not bad, but
it does help that Gail's brought a friend Shaman, which, by the way, P5 in his debut was.
I mean, he got a lot of luck there from all the crap that happened after that safety car. Speaking of that, well, we've talked enough about our. Oh, and I want to make a comment too. Like, and you even mentioned it, Puck. Like just because we've raced around each other a lot, we like get to like, we race well together, as friends and whatnot. And, it helps when we have incidents like that because it's just, it's better than strangers, if we're in like iRacing or like some random lobby in public where you get like, you snappy upset at someone. It's like, in the moment we get pretty heated, but, we can talk about it afterwards.
I was mad, but I knew the entire time is like, that wasn't your intentions ever.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing to note was if you could probably hear it on a couple different people's streams, including my own, a big thud of the desk following my accident. I don't know if you guys heard me go all Toto Wolf by throwing the headset or not. I don't know if that
I was about to say, did you throw the headset or you just like fist on the table?
Fist on the table, then through the headset. Everything's okay. My headset.
See, I barely make much money, so I can't afford to break a pair of headsets.
I don't either, but that's just kind of the emotion that it kind of took out of me.
Yeah. Well, that was our beef. And we're going to bring it up because we've been the only two talking for the entire time. So Bacon and Mahoo, how was your guys' races? Care to talk about your incidents, Bacon?
I mean, I avoided the first one.
Yeah.
I died. I looking back, because like, oh, that was a lot closer than I thought. That was fine. Thought I had a decent shot. Maybe I can get a solid podium now, or just get some points. Maybe tell Mahoo, see if I could. And then turn 2 happens.
Yeah.
And then the restart happens.
So I'd like to hear, because I think I've heard Bacon's point of view on this. I've yet to hear Mahoo's. So Bacon was okay. Clarify. This is under the safety car. This is
it's under safety car coming out of turn 2, and I think I gassed up, come off the corner a bit, and get a bit close to Mahoo's bumper as he's warming up his tires, and slows up a bit, and we just collide. My wing's done. I didn't realize how bad it was. I thought I was going to at least be able to just hang on, just be tight. But as soon as I went into turn 3, it just didn't turn, and I went sailing out the racetrack.
Yeah, dropped several. I mean, you went from that to 9th, 8th, and 9th, pretty much back where I was. So, and it was just the front. Like, it was just one side of the wing, right? It wasn't the entire.
Yeah, it was the right side.
Yeah. Did you think Mahoo like slowed you up, or like what? At the time, what did you think had happened?
I thought like he may just slow. Because I know he was like warming his tires, but I just felt like to warm your tires, you maybe gas it up a bit, try to create some distance, and then do that. Not just let off the gas. But I mean, that's just my view.
Mm-hmm. That's Bacon's. Mahoo, I want to hear it. First time. What did you think of the incident?
I mean, it's a pretty similar story to Bacon's, but I mean, I was warming up my tires, and I did lay back from the safety car a bit, but I thought I would be fine because I never got the laying too far back warning or something like that. But I guess the reason I kind of slowed down quicker than anticipated is because I was in a lower gear trying to minimize the fuel loss, or like the fuel gain. So like in that low gear, I was also dragging the brake to kind of not spin out in a lower gear easily. So I guess that explains my slowing up a bit.
Yeah, and it's tough because like it's right out of a corner.
Yeah.
Where people tend to just want to accelerate out of it. Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's kind of frustrating that we have to get rid of, or like post race, we have to get rid of time penalties because there's like collisions with your safety car and you get the time penalty for that. And I'm like, well, Bacon already got a penalty by getting the wing damage. So it's kind of a, 1-2 punch there, but it's, yeah.
It still got cleared, I believe. So
yeah, like karma's still, like removed at that point, but obviously
it's just my whole race got killed.
Yeah. And I guess the only other thing that's like, sucked. Well, it sucked for us in Alpine, for myself and Bacon, just because, had the incident between me and Puck not happened, most likely we would have finished 3rd and 4th, and we would have been probably past McLaren and the constructors. And after the safety car, after Bacon's wing, and then I collide with Karma, I think it's turn 3 or 4. I don't know what number that would be. But I guess after that straightaway after turn 2. So maybe it is 3, unless they count that slight bend into the left, turn 3. Had I not had that incident with Karma, maybe would have recovered something like a top 5, but obviously that didn't go anywhere. So yeah, it's just crazy how much can change within the matter of one safety car and how the race unfolds. But yeah, that was France. Mahoo once again went on to dominate the race no matter what happened in the field. So Mahoo continues to extend his lead in the points, now 19 points ahead of Gale, who did finish second. So even Gale's getting more consistent podiums now. But so Gale's keeping the championship alive. Unfortunately, the 9th place for Bacon drops him down 53 points below Mahoo. And then, it's big gaps after that. Actually, the next closest battle is going to be myself and Karma. I'm at 131 points, so Karma's 127 points. So it's going to be tough there. Tough battle because it's odd because it seems like Karma has some races where he's really good, some races where it's just kind of mediocre. So it's hard to tell what races are going to benefit him or not. And then constructors wise, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, I'd like to make one more comment about France before we switch topics here. LCS and Libert, who I think are kind of a staple of the midfield at this point, they continue to show improvement and pace. Like Karma, for example, being... Because I think there is like us top 7, and then it falters off a little bit in pace.
Mm-hmm.
Karma being in 6th place, because Kermit wasn't there that race. He wasn't actually able to pit for softs and take just a cheap fastest lap at the end because LCS had actually a close enough gap where it would have been a lost position.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, and then on Libert's side of things, he came away with the career high P4. And I think he even had a P5 at Spain.
Yeah, he did P5 at Spain. Yeah, Spain was... I had noticed that too. Like, I hadn't raced around him all season. And Spain, I was having underbody damage. Or floor damage, I should say. So that was kind of the first time I'd raced around him. So, even considering my damage, he was still doing fairly well, and keeping up with the pack. So those guys have been improving slowly over the course of the season, especially LCS. Like he's had a 5th place, and he's had an 8 at Portugal, 6 at France. So he's doing all right as well.
I mean, I experienced it myself last season. Like if you just kind of put your head down and just keep working, keep showing up is the big thing. I mean, you'll get faster, you get more consistent. Like Libert was spinning like nearly every race at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And now he seems to be one of the most glued to the racetrack drivers out there now.
Yeah.
So it's all great to see. And rumor has it Chaotix is returning for next week.
Yeah, we got Chaotix who's going to return, which I think is going to be great. I mean, I really enjoyed his presence when he raced with us last season. The only thing that deterred him, I guess if that's the word, away from Nitro was just because we did he leave because we enabled or disabled brake assist or something?
It didn't help, but it was also a time zone issue, and I think he had a couple personal things going on.
Yeah, completely understandable there, but I mean, he's gonna mix things up, but I also
think it's gonna affect him as much as you think. Yeah,
and I think he's still gonna be really quick. Maybe he'll be a challenge to Mahoo, which we'll be curious to see how that goes for the rest of the season. I don't think he'll be able to rank up enough points to contend for the championship, but it'd be just cool to have him. It's always a lot of us in Nitro over the course of its history have had a hard time accepting more people, especially when we know they're quick. But I think at this point we're just happy to have people. So the fact that Chaotix is coming back is gonna be cool, and that'll be good to see. And Shaman's been an excellent addition. I really like him as a person. I think he's a lot of fun to talk with, and he got a P5 in his debut. Regardless of the circumstances, it's still a P5. That's how races work. So that's cool for him, and I hope he sticks around as well. But yeah, just to wrap it up with the constructors, currently McLaren is leading the constructors with 320 points. Alpine is 288 points. The next closest will be Red Bull. You guys are 263, so you guys are within the top 3 contention for constructors. A little bit more of a drop off. AlphaTauri is currently 118 points with LCS and Kermit on that team. The Ferraris are at 82. And then the Aston Martin team, 57, Mercedes 43, Alfa Romeo 24, the Haas at 9, and so far the Williams has not scored a points, but they've only shown up for 3 races as a team. So not bad, we're pretty much right at the halfway point. I say it's going to be a close battle. I think Mahoo's going to have a good battle with Gale for the rest of the season. But we'll see. Mahoo, how are you feeling about the rest of the season, and what are your hopes on hopefully locking up an F1 championship?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this latter half of the schedule, these last 12 races. I mean, I believe these are some of my stronger tracks, so I expect some decent or some great finishes. But with the McLaren battles constantly, the Alpine battles, I mean, you never know what you're going to get. Rain, whatever that circumstance is. I mean, it's racing, but I'm just excited to go into these next 12 races.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think the seasons have always ramped up at the halfway point. People start getting a little bit more anxious, and especially if they're in the team battles or driver battles and whatnot, and just trying to find new ways to do things. So just to help get that edge and that advantage. So yeah, it should be a good rest of the season. As always, continue to follow Gary Owen's YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter and all of that. You'll know when he goes live. Again, thanks to him and Jay for doing the broadcast. I haven't been able to watch the replays of it or anything like that, but yeah, if it wasn't for those guys, I think I don't think I'd have the same coolness during each race. So yeah, be sure to tune in this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern for Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. I think Zandvoort is the third time? I think it's the third time we're running that race. So it's still a fairly new track considering, but be interesting to see. Considering this is the first time on this current game on F1 2021, we'll have to see how that plays out for the rest of the field. With that, we are going to head to Martinsville. I don't really know if there's much to talk about with Martinsville because it wound up staying a fairly green race. In fact, I think we only had one caution the entire time.
Funny enough, the 2 people involved are in this call. It was my fault. I got loose and Bacon just got collected in it.
Didn't you get hit by somebody else?
Yeah, in that instant, or...
Yeah, in the incident. Because what happened, I think if I remember, you got into contact with somebody else, and then you went up into the wall, and I just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I kind of ping-ponged a little bit, but I was kind of lucky with it too. Like, I ping-ponged and ended up being pointed in the right direction when it was racing to the line. The next car behind me was actually Mahoo. So I just barely got to keep my lap, even though it was still an end of the line kind of procedure. Which
I was not so fortunate.
Deserved it or not, we might have forgotten about it. Truth be told, but I felt terrible for you because I mean you never got the chance to have the lap back because of there not being any more cautions. I mean, I saw you on track. I definitely thought you were like bare minimum top 10, right?
Yeah, it felt worse when like Combat lapped me and then I'm like hanging with them for like half of the run. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, missed opportunity there. Like, you have the pace for him, but it's too late.
But surprised that I pace all. Martinsville's usually pretty bad for me on this game.
I don't know how I felt about that rate. I mean, I went 4 laps.
It's one of the
down.
cleaner Martinsville races we've had. It's Martinsville and heat. It's always going to be yikes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a race. I mean, for like the top runners, it was a fine race. For me, it came down just to lack of experience. I mean, I was getting throttle happy all race long, so I was just fighting just fighting the car being loose on exit, even though really setup wise it wasn't, and the tire wear wasn't really reflecting a loose car, but just being throttle happy on exit and getting like the braking down into the corners. But did you lap the entire field?
Yeah, I ended up lapping the entire field twice, which sounds crazy to say.
Because so even like second place got lapped twice?
Yeah, I think the last one in the top 5 I was to lap twice was even, but he got shuffled down to 4th between Cobra and Eagle.
Oh.
Did I finish 2 or 3 laps down?
I thought I was... Well, wait, where did you finish in the race?
I finished 6th, and the only people who might have been on the same lap as me would have been Karma and you, potentially.
I think. I'm trying to remember who was on my lap, but... Because I know Bacon was on the tail end of my lap. I was down in 10th. Bacon finished 11th?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were 11th. So yeah, I think I was 4 laps down. So yeah, you must have been like 2 or 3 laps down probably.
I'm looking back in my stream, and I have Puck as the first car that's 3 laps down, so in 6th place behind Combat.
Okay. Now, did something between you and Combat happen? Like early on in the race? Or like in the middle stages of the race?
I mean, early, not really. I mean, the first few laps, Combat just bolted out like 2 some seconds ahead of the pack. Mm-hmm. And then once things calmed down, I caught up, and then we did the like teammate switcheroo, I guess you could call it. Mm-hmm. And then it happened again once the caution came out, because my setup was driven towards the longer runs, and we just did the switcheroo again, and I think twice that second run. And then I think that was it for us.
Okay. Yeah, because for some reason I thought I recalled Combat getting into some sort of incident with someone. I didn't know if it was you. I think at the time I just assumed it was you, because I knew like Combat was racing around you for position for a period, but he definitely, like, I was surprised when he didn't finish. Or where did he finish? He 5th, was it? Yeah, I was surprised he didn't finish like 2nd, because I knew his pace at Martinsville had always been good. Historically, his pace was very good at Martinsville.
He had to have had some sort of trouble, because I was actually ahead of him for the start of the final run, which is weird because he did have like a lap over me at one point.
Yeah.
I believe he spun at one point in the long 200 lap run, and then the last pit stop he sped, which brought him down a long way.
Oh, okay. That might be part of it as well. Yeah. Go on.
I think the only people not to spin in that final run were people 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Basically.
I'm sure, I know Mahoo had a sketchy moment or two, and I mean, maybe the other 3 did as well, but I think the race came down to not so much speed, but just luck and consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, consistency plays a huge part in that. Yeah, I know. I mean, throughout the field, there was quite a bit of frustration. I know Karma and Kyle were racing around each other, and I know early on in the race, Kyle, I think, cut Karma off and sent him onto the turn 4 curb and spun around. So I do remember Kyle saying, Karma is racing him really, really aggressively. I think just sending it, making really, harsh dive bombs. I think Kyle made some comment saying that I'd like to, return the favor, but he's the league owner. And I mean, I don't blame him for that, but
I don't think you can ever have a different mentality. I don't think Karma's the type of person to ever hold that above someone's head. I mean, to my knowledge, if he ever has something penalty worthy, which rarely happens anyways, I think he relies more so on his peers.
And Karma, and if he, it's never going to be just because it happens to Karma. It was never really with me either when I owned Nitro. At least I can't remember a time, but, even if it did affect Karma would bring it to us admins, us race officials, and be like, hey, here's the situation. Like, it had to be something really worthy of a penalty, and the fact that Karma was, racing Kyle aggressive shouldn't have been enough of an indication for Kyle to be like, yeah, just, return the favor if you want to race him hard back. Now, obviously, if it wasn't for position, there was no point in doing that, but I do know they were racing for like top 5 for a good amount of time. So, or like top half the field, really. I don't know if it was really top 5 or not. I don't even know where they finished. Karma was 7th. Kyle, where is he? I don't see him. 9th. Yeah, they were kind of around each other. They're split by Limbert there in 8th. Yeah, and I was just frustrated at a certain driver. Like at some point, when are people going to realize that dive bombing corners and using someone else's brakes isn't the way to make a corner?
Like, I mean, at least from what I know, most of the front runners at least don't have that mentality.
No, which
should hopefully lead by example at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at some point. Now, I get that there is a bit of a net code. If you do send it in the corner, and even if you don't hit the car in front of you, chances are in their screen, you net code into them, or in their screen, you do run into them. So there is a very valid, argument there. But still, you shouldn't be taking a lunge into the corner to make the corner. It's just aggravating, really. Now, the fact that our next few races we go to Road America next week, we go to Charlotte, Dover, Michigan, Mid-Ohio, Pocono. We're going to have a handful of races where we probably won't have this issue. It's not going to be till we go to Loudon where I think we'll see those sends again. But, it's at least we got Martinsville out of the way, because those sends can be kind of frustrating. But, yeah, I mean, otherwise, the fact that race stayed mostly green was kind of a blessing, but at the same time was kind of a curse. I mean, a lot of us just wanted to leave. I think even LCS said at one point he just wanted to back out, but my mentality has always been no, stay in, keep running, because you'll never know if you figure something out. You'll never know if you find a line that works for you or setup adjustments that work. But that was a long race. 250 laps was not easy. But
I felt it when I got up out of my chair. I'll say that.
My tailbone was hurting like a mother. It was painful.
Were you on wheel for that race?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was too, and unfortunately, like I personally can't have a chair with wheels on it because when I push down on the pedals, I'm gonna push myself away from the desk.
Roll, yeah. Yeah, I've built a nice like we built a wooden, or like cut up a wooden board, just some like plywood that houses the pedals, and it has like a little stopper behind it, so the pedal can't go any more forward. And then in the back of the board we have another block of wood that goes across, and that stops the wheels from moving backward. So it's not bad of a little contraption that we just kind of like make out of the blue and make it work basically. But my pedals, I think, are positioned in a very weird way where it just like my lower back doesn't like work from it. Like either the pedals need to be more like forward from me, or they need to be like raised up or something. So it's just kind of hard to find that right spot. Now, do you have like any extra cushions or anything that you use?
I put a blanket on my chair. I mean, it's not much, but it's just a little extra soft. It's funny, like sometimes I'll literally race with the blanket wrapped around my shoulders, and you're thinking like, how do you even do that? Like, because you're like moving around and stuff. But I don't know. It doesn't like throw me off whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I've always just kind of gamed with like a blanket on my shoulders.
Like you wrap it around your like. How do you do that?
It's kind of weird. Like almost wearing it like a cape, and like the top of it would kind of be like over top of my shoulders.
Oh, okay.
Like not like wrapped around like I'm a burrito, but
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I was picturing in my head. I'm like, what?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past me, but at least not for a little bit.
Whatever works, right? It's like when people use like the lawn chair or something for their iRacing rigs. It's like, hey, it works for them. But yeah, that was Martinsville. Mahoo, how are you feeling? You must be feeling great for sweeping 2 weekends in a row. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I'm feeling pretty good right now. I mean, I think stages being removed this season kind of helps with that, and my long run speed notoriously. But I mean, it does feel good to get 2 wins early. It's going to be interesting heading into more variety of tracks these next few weeks.
Yeah, you looking forward to Road America at any chance?
Last season I never got the chance to run out my wheel because I had that issue. So I don't know what to expect yet. I ran a few laps, and I'm still trying to learn the track on the wheel, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you're feeling pretty good coming into this week as a previous winner.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I did the same thing too. Like last week I tried it on the wheel. I personally feel okay on the wheel, really. If anything, I think my lap times are fairly the same on wheel as they were controller for the track. So, because I know like Kermit had mentioned in the podcast a couple episodes ago, he was on the mindset of just controller the entire way, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But I did like figure it out. Like it only took me maybe a handful of laps, and I figured out with the wheel and figured out what I need to do. So I think it'd be good. I mean, I've obviously Road America. I felt like that race was good for me then. It might be good for me again this time, but it's just that consistency. I mean, I have not been able to nail down consistency with the wheel, so I'm not sure how I feel. How about you, Bacon? What are your thoughts for Road America, or even like the rest of the season moving forward? Especially since like kind of middle of the season, we're going to be going to a lot of tracks we've never gone to before, like Loudon, Kentucky, Indy, and such from previous seasons.
I feel at least a bit better about them than I did last year. I mean, I've gotten kind of more comfortable with how the game works. Maybe can do a lot more controller races. Road America is usually pretty rough, but mean, if I'm able to at least nail a setup down, I should be fine. Going to Kentucky back's nice. Kentucky's a really good track, IMO.
Yeah, I like that one.
Wilden's going to be rough. I don't know how much it's improved since the earlier heat games. I haven't really been on it much, but it could be the same situation that was in Martinsville.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, I mean, similar characteristics, just obviously faster corners, but yeah,
Well,
be interesting to see. Puck, I'm assuming you're going wheel all season here, especially for Road America.
Yeah, I don't personally have it in me to ever go back to controller. I think even if I really sat down at a racetrack for like 10 hours worth of prep, it still wouldn't amount to anything close to what I've learned to do on a wheel.
Are you?
Fun fact, I did technically win a race at Road America last season in a truck start.
There you go. That's something.
But I mean, I'm mostly just trying to get top 10s. A couple racetracks are circled on my calendar. Hopefully trying to get top 5s. I'd love to make it to the chase and then take it from there. Maybe put a little bit more extra prep just to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm in a decent position to start making my way towards the chase. I mean, P6 this week, P6 last week. I definitely know the names that I need to continue to outperform. And the path is getting clearer, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it'd be interesting. I mean, I've joked with Karma about this a couple of times because I've always said it's too early to be thinking about the playoffs. But considering our new rule this season is, we have 12 drivers that make it. The top 10 in points lock in. But if there are 2 drivers, I think it's where 2 drivers with most wins outside of the top 10 gets the other 2 wild cards spots. And so if people have that in the back of their mind, it's going to be an interesting season, with, some new tracks or tracks we haven't done in a while that are returning to the schedule. I think it's gonna kind of shake things up. And considering the playoffs is old chase format, and it's 6 races straight: Darlington, Bristol, Talladega, Canada, Las Vegas, and Iowa. I mean, someone could easily lock the championship up, a race before Iowa, but it'd be interesting to see how far that goes. Yeah, otherwise that's pretty much it. I don't think there's much else to discuss other than tune in next week when we discuss the Dutch Grand Prix from Zandvoort and our Road America race, which will be the first road course we go to all season. It's the first road course as well without any stages, so we'll see how that plays out from all of us. And again, as always, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter for all the latest updates from Nitro. I think that's it. Did I cover anything? I don't think there's anything else we
I think we've spread enough information.
Yeah. And with that, we'll
go over our time goal, but that's okay. It wasn't useless filler, at least.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Oh, well. It's good to discuss stuff. So, and I hope you guys enjoy watching it. And obviously, if you have your own comments, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Until the next time, thanks again for watching episode 5 of the Nitro Racing League Network podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.